There was once a shepherd boy whose name was Elijah. He was named after the great prophet. His father Noah was noted not only for his shepherding, but also for his stargazing. Each night he scanned the sky and the fields outside the little town of Bethlehem. On the night that his wife Naomi gave birth to their firstborn son, he thought he saw a chariot of fire racing across the sky. We would call it a comet or a meteor. And so he called his newborn son Elijah and thought, surely Elohim has great plans for him. Noah and Naomi loved their newborn son Elijah and cared for him as carefully as they cared for the sheep of their flock. If truth be told, they called him El, since they knew in their hearts that Elijah was a precious gift from Elohim. Noah couldn't wait until El was old enough to receive his first shepherd's staff. And on that very day of his birth, Noah carved a small one that El could use once he was old enough and tall enough to shepherd the sheep, or at least the little lambs. What Noah and Naomi didn't know the day he was born was that Elijah would never be able to walk without a staff. He would need it not just to shepherd the sheep, but as a crutch to lean on and enable him to walk. It wasn't until he tried to take his first steps that his parents realized he would never be able to walk and run like all the other shepherd children. That very night, Noah scanned the sky looking for a sign and calling out to God to help his son. He thought to himself, my son will never be like all the other children, but I know as sure as my name is Noah that God has something special in store for him. As anyone can imagine, Elijah had more growing pains than most of the other shepherd children. Since he could not walk without his staff, always limping along, he was never welcome to join in any shepherd games. All of the other shepherd boys and girls would laugh at him and say, no, El, you can't play hide-and-go sheep with us. No, El was such a constant refrain that he began to think that his name was Noel. Somehow Elijah made it through his childhood and early teen years as an apprenticed shepherd. He never really got used to hearing, no El, from his peers, but at least he knew how precious he was to Noah and Naomi, to whom God had given no other son or daughter. When he turned 16 and it came time for lambing season, he asked if he could help with the birthing of the lambs. There was one ewe in particular that Elijah had come to care for. He named her Sarah. She somehow sensed that he was not like the other young shepherds and would always keep pace with him, even limping a little. When it came time for Sarah to give birth, El was at her side, calming her and calling her name. When she gave birth to the little lamb, Elijah wrapped him in his arms, put a mantle around him, and gave him the name Elisha. It was then that he noticed that one of this little lamb's legs was shorter than the other. Oh, Elijah thought to himself, this little lamb will be like me. He will be different from all the others. But who knows? Perhaps Elohim has something in mind for him. Who knows the mind of God? The years passed and Elijah and Elisha were inseparable. Wherever Elijah went, Elisha followed. They were known as El the first and El the second. When the other young shepherds and the sheep would see them coming, they'd run the other way, calling out, no El, no El. But it didn't matter since they had each other. Elijah would wrap Elisha around his neck like a mantle and carry him across the fields. One starry night, Noah was scanning the skies and he saw something quite remarkable. He called out to El and said, Elijah, look up. Do you see what I see? Can you see the chariot of fire racing across the sky? It's what I saw the night you were born. I knew then and there that Elohim had something special in store for our El. The light in the sky grew brighter and brighter, so brilliant it almost blinded Noah, Naomi, Elijah, and Elisha. They were terrified. Then they heard a voice coming from the light. Noel, I bring glad tidings. A precious lamb is born in Bethlehem. He will be the shepherd of all God's flock. Elijah couldn't believe his ears. Someone was calling his name, Noel. This messenger, this angel, was speaking to him and telling him wonderful news. Elijah was so excited that he picked up his friend Elisha, wrapped him around his neck and said, hold on, El, we're going to Bethlehem. Noah and Naomi couldn't believe what they were seeing. It looked as if Elijah and Elisha were chariots of fire. El was running so fast, no longer limping, but leaping for joy. And then, as if borne on angels' wings, El was flying through the air, a flying shepherd. Noel, Noel! The other young shepherds cried out, and when they saw the one whom they had scorned flying through the air, they all running in haste to follow them. And they found Mary and Joseph and the babe asleep in the manger, with Elijah and Elohim standing by their side. And Naomi and Noah said to each other, "Now we know well what God had in store for our firstborn." And they and all the shepherds who had seen this with their own eyes made known the message that was told to them about this child. And that's the story of the first Noel.